was complaining about how we weren't getting any new hits a couple months ago? Now, whatever intestinal blockage the charts were suffering from, it cleared up shortly after I said that because we got all sorts of new stuff now, a lot of them by people I've never even heard of.
Why you gotta be so rude?
I look down the Hot 100 now and I'm like, who the hell are Magic, Sam Smith, Disclosure, Nico and Vinz, MKTO, Rixton, DJ Snake? Oh wait, I did a review of that guy. Okay, I know that one. Yeah, the freshman class of 2014 suddenly got a lot bigger. Though I know not to make predictions, if most of them were gone by 2015, I would not be surprised. But there is one newcomer who I do expect to stick around. Her name is Iggy Azalea. No, that's Iggy Pop. That's Iggy Koopa. That's Miss Pig. Okay, you're getting it wrong on purpose now. There we go. Iggy Azalea. Rapper from Australia, moved to Miami at age 16, lived all over the South since then, and if I'm correct, she is the first white girl to become a major success in hip-hop. Yeah, you had people like Krayshawn who had buzz, but haven't really broken through, and you had your Gwen Stefani's and other pop singers who took some ideas from hip-hop, but they weren't really rappers. Iggy Azalea, meanwhile, has the top charting song in the country, and is featured on the second biggest. She is the first white female to really make a mark in hip-hop, and she's from a whole different continent, too. She is, in that regard, a groundbreaker. And I totally get why, too. The more I was exposed to her, the more I realized this person is an A-lister in the making. It's the same feeling I got when I first heard of Nicki Minaj or Kesha. I thought, this person is gonna be big. They just have that star quality, you know? I feel like I need to clarify here that star quality is not the same thing as quality. So Iggy Azalea, hottest new pop star of 2014. Why is she so big? Well, let me give you an analogy. Record executive Sam Phillips, right before he discovered Elvis Presley, he said he could make $1 million if he could just find one white boy who could sing like a black guy. The appeal to Iggy Azalea appears to be something similar.
That's what I'm talking about. A white girl with a black girl's ass.
Yes, that's right. That was a clip from the Wayans Brothers classic, White Chicks. I watch a lot of bad movies just so I have a large supply of movie references that I can use. You're welcome. But I guess I was kind of being really dismissive there, right? I mean, surely she has some musical talent too, right? Well, she isn't untalented, but I've listened to her big hit Fancy a bunch of times now, and I just don't really get it, because the song, more specifically her on the song, is just not very good. Like, at all. By the way, as you probably noticed by now, she has chosen to make the video an homage to everyone's favorite 80s movie disguised as a 90s movie, Clueless, which is kind of distracting and doesn't remotely fit the tone of the song at all. Just try to ignore it. But yeah, at 1 billion overplays, it takes me a ton of effort to remember a single thing she says in that song except who dat, who dat.
Right. You should want a bad bitch like this. Huh? Drop it low and pick it up just like this.
Apparently the way to become a big hit rapper, even if you don't fit the rapper profile, is spew all the same generic cliches and hope no one notices. Here's what Fancy is about.
I'm so fancy, you already know.
She's fancy. She spends money and is attractive. That's basically every rap song for the past 10 years, minus all the parts that are threatening, ugly, dangerous, witty, or interesting. This song bores me to tears.
I'm so fancy.
I don't care that you're fancy. And the weird thing is, none of it is actually about being fancy.
Taking all the liquor straight, never chase that, never.
Like, there's a couple of expensive things listed in there, but mostly it's not about being fancy at all, and it certainly doesn't sound fancy.
Swagger on stupid, I can't shop in no department to get my money on time. If they
Minimalist beat, dark tone, trashy vibe. This is fancy in the same ways as the fancy ketchup packets from McDonald's. Let's take a closer look, shall we? Let's see if there's anything worth salvaging here. Start from the beginning.
First things first, I'm the realest. First things first, I'm the realest.
Okay, you know how I said she's not even from here? Yeah, that makes Iggy Azalea's entire existence awkward. Because you heard what she sounds like.
Say, baby, I do this. I thought that you knew this. Hot girl, hands off, don't touch that. Look at
Yeah, so I have basically only one response to her being the realest.
As if.
Yeah, this is what turns a mediocre song into the kind of thing that gives me a headache to think about. In this country, we have a whole unpleasant history of white people pretending to be black, and so whenever we hear someone with a really contrived accent like hers, for a lot of us it hits our no button. Like, Kesha and Miley use hip-hop slang pretty often, but I never thought they were trying to sound like anything but the spoiled rich girls they are. Meanwhile, Iggy Azalea is putting on this really phony-sounding accent, and she's not even American. But, I do want to give her the benefit of the doubt. I don't know what an Australian expatriate who's lived all over the dirty South since she was 16 is supposed to sound like. Maybe worrying about whether someone is real is kind of a stupid thing to worry about anyway, right? Because you can overthink this. Macklemore worries all the time about the implications of being a white man taking over a black art form, and it's made him downright neurotic. I don't really recommend that approach. Iggy Azalea does not have to worry that she's overthinking it. Look, she's been fairly popular in the UK for a couple years now. Apparently they have less issues with white girls rapping than we do. My point is, she's been in the public eye for at least a little while now. You'd think someone in her position would know they might want to be careful, considering the minefield they're already in. Instead, she's got kind of a reputation for saying somewhat insensitive things. A lot. But I'm not here to review her Twitter feed, goddammit. I'm here for the music. The boring music. The music whose first line sounds like outright bullshit. And it sure doesn't help that she's dressed as one of the whiter characters in film history either.
Oh my god, I'm totally bugging.
Hold on, let's try and see if we can't find something in here.
Drop this and let the whole world feel it. Let them feel it. And I'm still in the murder business. I can hold you down like I'm giving lessons in physics.
What?
Like I'm giving lessons in physics.
What the hell sense does that make? Because gravity? That's a stretch and a half, lady. What physics classes did you have? I mean, I did get held down a lot in school, but that was more of a lesson in economics, really. Whatever it is that people like about the song, I guess it's mostly all the parts that don't have to do with Iggy Azalea herself. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the chorus, but yeah, it's got that smooth, kind of slick vibe that Drake is constantly trialing and failing to achieve. The singer on Fancy is Charli XCX of I Don't Care, I Love It fame. Yeah, she's one of those indie pop acts that are like halfway between Britney Spears and Bjork. I hope she turns out to be the more famous person on this track because she's running circles around Iggy. Even though the chorus she's given is kind of pretty bad.
I'm in the fast lane from LA to Tokyo.
Yeah, the fast lane from LA to Tokyo is the same as the slow lane, the Pacific Ocean. And then she goes on to talk about trashing hotels and drinking minibar booze, and we're just getting farther and farther away from the entire concept of Fancy, aren't we?
Trash the hotel. Let's get drunk on the minibar. Make the phone call. Feel so good getting what I want.
Make the phone call? For what? Pizza delivery? No, seriously, for what?
Make the phone call.
Unless you say what you're calling for, which she doesn't, then she's just bragging about using a phone. I get that by fancy they apparently just mean good in some non-specific way, but making phone calls? Are you bragging about doing something that everyone in the first world has done since the 1890s? I mean, if you're just gonna sit there and brag, at least say something clever about it. Why are you so fancy?
My flow retarded, HB did the party.
Her flow is retarded. I can't even really add anything to that because, I'm not trying to offend anyone here. I mean, all the jokes are right there, and I can't touch them. God damn it, Iggy Azalea! To recap, fancy just means generically good, retarded means good, everything means good. Her flow is retarded, that's how she describes it. And the sad part is, if I can be positive for a moment, her flow is actually really good.
My money on time, if they about money decline. I swear I'm in there so much to get that line of rewind.
Like, I wanted to call her just a female Vanilla Ice, but that would be actually super unfair because if nothing else, she knows how to work a rhythm and a rhyme, unlike Vanilla Ice.
Take heed, cause I'm a lyrical poet. Miami's on the scene, just in case you didn't know it.
Yeah, just a reminder, Vanilla Ice is exactly as bad as everyone always said he was. So, I'm giving her as much credit as I can here. But I feel like I'm saying, oh, she knows how to chop vegetables really well. I mean, it's a good skill to have, but it isn't the same thing as knowing how to cook. Here, right here, this is the biggest problem with Fancy. Not the questionable racial politics. Not the failure to display any fanciness. Not the basically unfinished beat. Not even the lack of clever lyrics. Now see, the main problem with fancy is the same problem that afflicts almost all modern hip-hop. First off, no, I don't already know because I barely heard of either of you. But if I did already know, then what's the point of me listening to this? It's not gonna tell me anything I don't already know. The worst thing to happen to hip-hop is that it became all about having it and not about getting it. Like, you know how Drake claims to have started from the bottom but doesn't actually provide any details about how he started from the bottom? Well, that song's awful, but at least he hinted that there was some kind of journey. When Lorde released Royals and blasted all those pop songs and rap songs about partying and stuff, she didn't do it because it's overdone, or because she doesn't like partying, or because she doesn't get hip-hop and she's looking down on people who had to work their way up to success. No, she doesn't like these songs because they're goddamn boring! It's like watching a sports movie where instead of being underdogs, the heroes start out at the #1 seed, and then they win every game and they become champions. Who'd watch that? And yes, your generic bragging track can still be good, but they're so overdone at this point, you had better be amazing. Iggy Azalea has confidence, I'll give her that, but otherwise, this is basically just an inane Black Eyed Peas song.
Like we bring an 88 back.
Rooftop Party's gone out of style since the late 80s? I don't get any of this. Look, I listened to a bunch of other songs just to try and figure out why she's successful, and mostly I wasn't impressed, but she does have some bits in there that do seem to stem from who she actually is, you know, her whiteness and her femaleness and her foreignness. So Iggy Azalea may have better hits in her. But as of right now, all she's proven is that white girls can rap just as uninspired as anyone else. She's gonna have to try harder if she wants to be a real rapper with respect and stuff, because right now she just seems like this dull person who says dumb things, who's really just kind of ignorant and, clueless.
Hello? Was I the only one listening? I mean, I thought it reeked.
She said, here she wants his fancy, don't let me down.